Let's build a killer PC around this ASUS ROG Strix 4080 Super. Now this thing is going to be a beast, so it's going to be a 1440p gaming machine, even 4K, without the expensive price tag of a 4090. And so this one, we're going to build it kind of around this thing, so I think when I priced everything together, it turns out to be around $3,000. So we're going to go ahead and build it. We're going to go through all the components here as I build it, and then we're going to go ahead and run some benchmarks and see how well it performs in 1440p and 4K. All right, the motherboard we're going to be using is the ASUS ROG Strix X670EF Gaming. Now this thing is, a little bit overkill from what we're going to be doing. It's perfectly fine to do like a B650. Let's go ahead and take everything out. This thing is a beauty, so we're going to go ahead and stick with the ASUS ROG Strix GPU motherboard combo. And so I'm going to go ahead and just put everything on this motherboard box. Take out this beautiful thing. Take a look at that thing. Gorgeous. The CPU that we're going to use is the AMD Ryzen 7800X3D, which is an amazing CPU for gaming. So we're going to go ahead and pop this on in. All right, so just flip this little lever up, and we'll kind of flip this up. And then we're going to go ahead and triangle, upper right-hand corner right here. Gently just drop it down. Make sure it's seated real nice. Pop that little lever in there, and then put that right back. This little plastic piece will come on up right now. Keep that in the motherboard box, just in case you need to RMA return this motherboard. All right, next let's put in our RAM, and this stuff is the G.Skill. This is G.Skill Trident Z5 Neo, which is DDR5, 6000 megahertz, CL30. We're gonna do the 2 and 4. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in, make sure it lines up with those little grooves right here. Go ahead and slide it right on in. Come on, there we go. There we go, like a glove. All right, let's install our NVMe, and we're going up top. And I didn't push record when installing it on this camera right here. Fun, let's do it again. All right, we're recording now, good. We're gonna install this NVMe. So this is the Crucial P3 Plus PCIe 4, 1 terabyte NVMe. So we're gonna go ahead and just remove this piece right here, this little M.2 slot right here. And then you wanna remove this little protector from this these thermal pads here. And then we're gonna remove this. And then we're going to go ahead and take out the NVMe, put it in right here. That little notch right there goes in right there, about a 45-degree angle. Slide it in, and then you're going to go ahead and push it down, slide that over, boom. So now we're just going to go ahead and put this guy back on, like that. There we go, screw that down, and boom, boom, boom. NVMe. Done. All right, we're gonna be using an AIO to cool this thing, and we're gonna use the NZXT Kraken X73. Why? Because I had it. I'm not gonna buy another one. My wallet is already mad at me. We're repairing our relationship. So we're gonna use this one because it's a 360 AIO and it's black. I had a Lian I was gonna use, but it's white in a Lian case, but we're gonna use the NZXT Kraken. We're also gonna swap out the fans because I wanna use the new Seasonic fans, which are the MagFlow, which are awesome. These things look really cool, and then they connect together via a magnet, which is awesome. So, MagFlow being magnet, and then flow for flow. I cracked the code. So we're gonna use these fans in the build and check them out. And I'm sure they're gonna do awesome because it's a Seasonic product and I love their PSUs. The fans gotta be just the same. They feel like nice and heavy too. They got some heft to them. All right, so let's put the fans on the radiator and then the AIO on the motherboard here. Let's do it. Before I put my AIO in, I always like to drop it in the case and kind of see where I want to mount the radiator and stuff like that. And so kind of see how the pump's gonna be. Like, is the pump, the pipe's gonna stick out, the tube's gonna stick out the bottom, or is it gonna go on the side here like this? Is the radiator, like how I wanna place it, where I wanna put the fans, and have the cables stick out the sides and stuff like that. So I like to kind of just see exactly how I'm going to do it, and then go from there. So I think what I'm going to do is have the tubes stick out the bottom here like this, because I like the way the tubes kind of look right here, because if I switch it like this and have the tubes on the right side, it kind of seems like it's like kind of twisted a little bit like that, and I don't like that look. I can probably flip it up like this, but I don't really like that. So I'm just going to go ahead. I think this is a nice clean look. Putting it like right in here, mounting it right here. And so I think I'm gonna do it like this. So I'm gonna put the fans with the cables on this side. So let's do that. All right, so another thing to think about too is how you're gonna install your fans. Are you gonna do intake or exhaust? And in this case, this radiator is gonna be on the side. So what I'll do in this O11D Vision, I'm gonna have an intake on the side here, and then I'm gonna have intake on the bottom and then exhausting out the back, since the Vision case right now is just glass on top, so we're not exhausting out the back. Even though aesthetics are gonna take a hit, because usually it's best, or not best, but for aesthetics, this is the pretty part of the fan, and so this would be exhausting though, and so we could, you know, bring in intake, cool air in the bottom, and exhaust through the side, through this radiator, and exhaust out the back. But you know what, I am going to focus on performance, and we're gonna try and cool this thing as much as possible. It's not all about aesthetics right now. We're gonna go ahead and we're just going to put this as intake, and then you know, cooler. So we're gonna put it as intake right now, and we'll see how well that works. And that's what I love about these new fans. They're magnetic. These MagFlow, Seasonic MagFlow is just click, boom, already done. Click, boom, already done. So, and then we'll mount those, and then the bottom has a little connector. So we'll go ahead and just screw that into the radiator right here, and we'll put the little connector on the bottom on this little thing, little magnet, and then that will be on the bottom, hiding the cables a little bit. So let's go ahead and mount these like this. All right, so we got our AM5 bracket on right now. I had to get this separate for the NZXT X73. So we got this thing on, and we got the standoffs on right now. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna apply some thermal paste right now. We're just gonna do maybe like, we're gonna try this maybe. That bad boy. X marks the spot, and we're just gonna go ahead and drop this down right here. There we go. And then we're gonna put our thumb screws on here. All right, done. Looks good. So now let's go ahead and drop this. Oh, we need peel time. Peel time, the best time. All right, the case we're gonna build in today is the O11D Vision. I've never built in this case, so we're gonna go ahead and try it out. And I always love Lian Li cases, so let's prop it back on its side and remove this front panel, glass panel here. All right, let's go and drop the motherboard in along with the radiator here. Perfect, like a glove. So that'll sit right off in here. All right, let's go ahead and screw that down. All right, let's mount this radiator in the back here. All right, now we're gonna plug in all the cables to the motherboard, and we're gonna install the fans. All right, got all the cables plugged into the motherboard, and actually switched these fans on the side to exhaust, so it'll exhaust the hot air. So we got the intake, cool air coming to the bottom, and then exhausting out here and exhausting out here, which is fine. Performance shouldn't take too much of a hit. I'm actually gonna do some testing to see which way cool better. But this, we're gonna prioritize aesthetics, I guess, after having those fans and the sticker and the fan bar. I think these looked really good. So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug in the PSU, and the PSU we're gonna use is Seasonic's new one, is the Vertex. It's the 1200 watt, and this one supports ATX 3.0, PCIe Gen 5. So this is got the new power connector for, you know, supporting the 12 volt high power. This one connector can support up to 600 watts for your GPU and stuff. And then this also supports a lot of those power spikes that a lot of times, or some of these GPUs and CPUs maybe are kind of jumping and spiking. So this should be pretty sweet PSU, so let's go ahead and install it right now. And these new PSUs, I saw ASUS and maybe all the other ones, the Seasonic, it looks like they have the included cables. Usually I never use them because they're kind of ugly, you know, maybe a budget build, but if I have it, you know, $50, $100 in the budget to actually create real nice, different colored custom PSU cables, you can do that. But these ones actually now come like, they're like embroidered, or they're like, maybe they heated up these cables and kind of like made it look like there's a kind of like a mesh design. So it might look, you know, a little bit better rather than just kind of a plain black, cheap feel. Wish they came with cable cones to kind of make it look cleaner, but we're gonna use these cables and see how they look. So we're gonna just plug in the cable to the GPU and the motherboard and then the CPU. You can see them and we'll just see how it looks and see, we just use the included cables. All right, gonna make sure we put this fan facing out here and prop it up in here like this. There we go. And then we're gonna go ahead, screw it in. All right, being this PSU is fully modular, we're only gonna plug in the cables we need. We got the motherboard cable, we got the 12 volt high power GPU cable, and we got the EPS for the CPU. We're gonna use 2 of them. You can get by with probably 1 of them, but I always like to provide it more power if it ever wants it. Usually when you're overclocking you do it, but it's probably not needed. But in this case, I'll probably just add it. And then in this one, we have some SATA connectors right here for some power for this RGB hub. So we're gonna go ahead and use that. Have hideous cable management? Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Move along. Now time for this beautiful GPU, ASUS ROG Strix 4080 Super. This thing is gorgeous. Look at the backplate on that and stuff. It definitely looks fire in my opinion. This thing is gonna be a beast, and so let's go ahead and install this. Well, one of the things too that is kind of cool is like on the ends here, you can also plug your fans directly into it, and so you can set a fan curve that reacts to your GPU temperature. So let's go ahead and plug this in and let's connect the power cable. All right, peel time. I like the all black, maybe like a really blackout theme in this thing. Pretty sweet. All right, let's see if this thing powers on or posts. Let's see, cross our fingers. Oh, power switch on the PSU. Ooh, we got some power. All right, let's see if it displays anything on this monitor here now. The monitor cable unplugged. Nice. Cool. It helps to have the monitor plugged in and everything powered on. We good. All right, let's install Windows and all the drivers and software and stuff, all the games. Let's get to testing. Let's do it. All right, to monitor the GPU, we're gonna be using ASUS's software called GPU Tweak III. I like it so far. There's a lot to see here, the graphs, and there's default mode. We're just gonna be in this, just going default, because every card, you know, could be different. With an overclock it and all that stuff, you can do that. Silent mode and user mode. I also like that they have the GPU Z, so you can also see the stats and all this stuff on your GPU right here. And then for the overlay that we're gonna have to monitor all the stats on screen, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna keep track of FPS, the GPU temp, GPU clock, GPU usage, CPU clock, CPU temp, CPU usage, and memory usage, or VRAM. That's gonna be kind of the center on top. So let's game. All right, we're gaming Fortnite, 1440p, and then we got unlimited frames, FPS, and then we are doing DirectX 12. We're gonna try, see how well it does with the best settings. Right now we have it epic, and all these epic settings right here. So let's go test to see what this 4080 Super can do. Using these settings, I was averaging probably about 120 to 130 frames per second. The graphics were really great. Obviously it's on Epic, so the VRAM usage was really bumped up. Everything was still felt really fluid, really nice though. Still about 120, 130 frames. We are in 1440p performance mode. All right, with these settings, you can definitely max out the frames per second. We were seeing anywhere from like, I don't know, 450 all the way to like 700 and some. As you can see, the GPU usage only like 50% being used. With the textures and the graphics being really low, the VRAM, only using like probably a couple gigs. So it was just kind of maxing out just crazy FPS. All right, we're doing 4K now and unlimited and performance. We're gonna see how well this does. With these settings, the 4080 Super definitely didn't have a problem handling it. It had about anywhere from 350 to 450 frames a second. Utilized only probably about 60 to 70%. VRAM was only about 2.5 gigs. Did excellent. All right, we're gonna play in 4K right now with DirectX 12. We're gonna do Epic settings just to see kind of what this GPU can do in Fortnite. So let's take a look and let's go kill some people. Yeah, 4K Epic. It's not as smooth. It's kind of choppy. You look, kind of stutters a little bit, and so that is not going to work. We want it to be a lot smoother. So if you're doing 4K, not do Epic. Drop the quality down. All right, we're going to be testing on Cyberpunk right now, 1440p, maximum frames per second. We just bumped it all the way up to 240. And so we're going to go ahead and right now we're just going to run everything on high with ray tracing, everything like that, and see how well it performs. Kind of the defaults right here. We're going to keep DLSS super resolution. We'll see, maybe we can do that. Maybe we'll turn that off, see how that works. All right, just running around. Looks like we're getting about 128, 127 frames per second here.
Watch out! I'm going in!
125, 127.
Watch out, big dog!
Maybe once off. Let's run everything on high. Let's see how that works here with just no DLSS. Like we dropped down to about 77 frames per second, 76. All right, ray tracing off. Everything's kind of on low here. So let's take a look to see how that works. All right, so this one, now we're at about 216 frames a second, 210. 217. Smooth. All right, so now we're doing Cyberpunk in 4K, and we're gonna do same FPS. We're gonna do low graphics, no DLSS, and ray tracing, and low settings here. So let's go ahead and see how well it does. Now in 4K, we are getting 151, 154, just kind of around here. 5. All right, so we just bumped everything up to high or ultra. We still got DLSS off and ray tracing off, so let's see. Oh yeah, 34 frames per second, yeah. That's not good, not good. Too much. All right, ray tracing right now, path tracing, photo. Let's just, oh my God, we got this. Oh, a little more. See if we can burn it. Let's try and run it. Oh no, unplayable. 17 frames per second. Damn, this is almost, yeah, this is unplayable. Now let's turn on DLSS. Let's see what it does. All right, so that bumped everything up to about 34, but if you're gonna play Cyberpunk in 4K, you definitely gonna want to turn the quality down. Okay, that's better, much better. Turn ray tracing off. Now we're at about 160, 163. Yeah, it's a little bit better. All right, next up is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And right now settings, we have 1440p. And then we're gonna do balance. This here, VSync off. And then unlimited frames. And then quality. Right now we're gonna do balanced. So we're gonna be balanced kind of right in the middle. All right, with these settings, I was probably averaging around 250 frames a second. I felt really good with about 7.5 gigs of VRAM.
Damn, feeling lucky. How about more meat? These cheese. I'm losing my feet. Caught up in these talks. Circling my head top. Should have been more cautious. Now I got what I wanted. Listen up, I'm calling you. I need you to tell why you wanted to. Remember that I said was you. Got you at the perfect time. I was watching it.
All right, we're testing out 4K now, and you can see the frames drops probably by like 100. So I think we're averaging anywhere from like 160 to 190. So maybe 175 might be a good average. VRAM usage also goes up by probably about a gig. But everything still ran pretty smooth and pretty well here using the balanced graphics. Right next up is Halo Infinite. I love this game, and we are playing 1440p. All right, minimum frame rate off, maximum. We just input 240 just so there's no ceiling here, or we'll see what it gets. VSync off, and then everything is kind of low. So let's see how this gets us on 1440p. Let's do it. We're getting pretty consistent. So I'm thinking about even bumping it up.
You're quite lethal.
Enemy returns.
Outstanding.
Yeah. All right, let's bump it up to 400 now and see what that does.
Fine shot. Not today, friend. Twice next time.
Looks like we were getting about, I don't know, averaging probably about 270, 300, 310 frames per second right now, 1440p. So not too bad, not too bad. All right, same settings except 4K right now resolution, and then 400 max frame rate, low graphics. Let's see what we can do.
Shot caller. Perfect.
I think we're getting about 150, 160 frames per second. Like that. All right, next up is Red Dead Redemption, because that really kind of, it's very graphically intensive and it'll stress the GPU out real nice. So what we're gonna do is we're playing right now in 4K, the 4 of the Ks, and then we're just gonna do balanced right now. I could probably drop it all the way down, and obviously graphics will be down, frames per second will be up. But if you want to jack the graphics higher, obviously the frames per second will be lower. So I'm just going to do in the middle and take it as is, and everything will just be on ultra here, and we'll see how it performs 4K, and then we'll switch over to 1440p. All right, for the benchmarks, obviously you can see the stats right there, minimum, maximum, and average. This is 4K with balanced, and a lot of the graphics were still set to ultra. So obviously if you drop all the graphics down, you probably get more. So let's do 1440p, see what we can get. All right, 1440p, doing the same quality preset balanced, and then here's all the settings here set to ultra, and let's run that benchmark test and see what we get. All right, that did really well. Looks like the maximum was 206, average about 95, minimum 22 though, huh? And if you're wondering, this 4080 Super can handle Crysis. Yeah. really well to the stats. 245 frames per second. And even on the settings high, let's see here, let's take a look. We even have 120, and then we have high settings. That's sad. You gotta run the Crysis.